James Bond has been gracing our screens for 60 years now, with Dr. No's release in 1962 kickstarting what would become one of the longest running movie series in cinematic history. Since 1963's From Russia with Love, every entry has had a Bond theme performed by an artist who was popular at the time. While some Bond themes are timeless classics, others have been banished to the Shadow Realm, as the unlucky few who heard them have tried to forget. But now, it is time to uncover these forgotten themes, as well as the classics, and decide once and for all which Bond themes have stood the test of time, which is the worst, and which is the best Bond theme. Little side note, I shall only be basing these ratings off the movie the theme was written for. You'll see what I mean later. I don't think anyone is surprised to see Die Another Day here. The 2002 Bond theme by none other than Madonna is quite easily the worst Bond theme there is. I don't quite know who thought a weird, heavily auto-tuned, orchestral dance song would be a good Bond theme. But it did also get to number 3 in the UK charts, so maybe it's just aged like warm milk left out in the sun. It did do a good job at encapsulating the time it was released in, but unfortunately that time was 2002, which is where the main issues may arise. When I saw Madonna had done a Bond theme, I expected something more akin to Like a Prayer, not this. I don't really see any redeeming features of this Bond theme. For such a known artist, I expected far more. GoldenEye was the movie that revived James Bond from his late 80s slump. But the song that accompanied the movie didn't see the same success. At least for me, anyway. It's hard to put my finger on what makes me dislike it, but as you'll see, I don't like many Bond themes from the Pierce Brosnan era. I just feel like it's a rather annoying song, which really isn't what you want from a Bond theme. Tina Turner is one of the greats in the music world, and we've seen that she's capable of doing some amazing music for movies in 1985's Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome, which contains the song We Don't Need Another Hero. So the question I'd ask is why the Bond theme just wasn't good. I guess we'll never know. The World Is Not Enough by Garbage is quite well reviewed by the band name. Okay, but jokes aside, this isn't that good of a Bond theme. The song is just quite boring and it's not forgettable because I definitely remember it, just for the wrong reasons. It's nowhere near the levels of bad that Madonna managed, but I'd probably be quite close to skipping the title sequence when watching this movie. The whole grunge aesthetic it's going for is quite cool, but it's just quite badly pulled off. It just really does not work for a Bond theme, and I'm happy they didn't try it again. Moonraker, which was Shirley Bassey's third and final Bond theme, was not all it could have been. There's nothing too bad with this one, but in 1979 I feel there would have been better artists, such as Elton John or the Bee Gees, to have a go at a Bond theme, and could have made a more fitting theme for a sci-fi Bond movie. It doesn't have the power of the other Shirley Bassey themes, but also doesn't have the emotional connection of other themes. This one just falls quite flat, and this is emphasised by its failure to chart in the UK, one of only 2 to have managed this. Another Way to Die from 2008's Quantum of Solace is so nearly a great Bond theme, but it falls short in certain areas. The song starts off with a very recognisable and good riff, which should lead to a good song, but unfortunately things start to go downhill rather quickly, with some very weird pacing, meaning that the intro drags on for 42 seconds before the verse actually starts. Then when it does start, the vocals feel a little off, with the monotone style really making it quite a boring song overall. I also feel there's something a little discordant about how Jack White and Alicia Keys' voices mix, which can make some parts of the song a little grating on the ears. Now I'm not gonna say this has no redeeming features, as it does have a good riff as I said earlier, and the instrumentation is very good at finding the balance between rock and orchestra. But the alt-rock theme that preceded this did a far better job at being a good song, as you shall see later on. All Time High from the 1983 entry Octopussy, performed by Rita Coolidge, is good at encapsulating the movie, but more in the way that you forgot it existed. It's not a bad song by any means, but it certainly isn't all that memorable, and you wouldn't think this was the theme of the New Romantics era of the 1980s. There are definitely worse Bond themes, but I feel this one is possibly one of the most boring ones, which is quite impressive considering it's one of the shortest, and has legendary lyricist Tim Rice behind it. This is a very bland 1980s soft rock ballad, which really doesn't cut it for a Bond theme. The main thing keeping it away from being bad is that saxophone that pops up throughout the song, which is one of the few redeeming features it actually has. We Have All the Time in the World from the 1969 entry On Her Majesty's Secret Service is just generally quite forgettable. While the performance from the then 67-year-old Louis Armstrong is commendable, it just doesn't really stand up to the other themes from the series. This is, however, the song I meant when I said that the rating was based only off the movie it was written for. So if you are not wanting spoilers for No Time to Die, please skip ahead to the time on screen. This song's use of the recurrent song in No Time to Die, when James Bond is with Madeleine Swann at the start, and then when Swann is with hers and Bond's daughter at the end of the movie after Bond's death, is rather poignant, and is put to good use. The soft nature of the song works very nicely, unlike when it was a Bond theme. 1997's Bond theme for Tomorrow Never Dies is a pretty basic soft rock song from the 90s. There's nothing that impressive about it, but it's also not bad. I do forget Sheryl Crow did a Bond theme, which is part of the reason this is here, but all things considered I say this is a very meh song. It's very repetitive and does get boring whilst listening through the song, but the part that's repeated is good enough. Just not anything to write home about. I feel this theme is somewhat comparable to The World Is Not Enough, but I just find this Bond theme to be more to my taste. However, I could see someone else swapping these around if someone preferred Garbage to Sheryl Crow. Lulu's 1974 theme for The Man with the Golden Gun feels very generic. It's not forgettable, but it's also not that good. While I'll give it some credit for having sexual innuendos riddled throughout the song, which for 1974 was somewhat brave, it doesn't really have the same quality as the other themes. Overall, it feels like it was very rushed and was put together in about 30 minutes after they lost the sheet music for the proper theme. It's not bad, but there's many that are better. Thunderball by Tom Jones is a great song. A powerful singer backed by a full orchestra is the perfect recipe for a Bond theme. The lyrics about how Bond acts are also a nice touch, and the song does not let you forget the title of the movie it's in. It's a very safe Bond theme, but in 1965 they weren't going to be too experimental, especially considering it was only the third Bond theme. This theme seems to largely go unnoticed due to it attempting to follow Goldfinger, but I think it deserves more credit since it feels like it follows a similar formula to that theme. This just feels like the benchmark of being a good theme to me. It's not the best one, but at the same time, it's very solid. A Bond theme that's good without belting vocals or a recognisable riff is a nice and rare sight. And that's what this is. Sheena Easton's For Your Eyes Only from 1981 is a very nice soft ballad, which does feel reminiscent of the time it's from. Sheena Easton herself was only 21 while recording this theme, which makes the precise vocals even more impressive. I feel the instrumentation is very nice on this theme, as it's largely synth while not being in your face with it. This is what makes it feel quite appropriate for the time, as the 80s were very synth heavy. This is just a nice song. It's not trying to be a big and bold theme, and it's all the better for it. Carly Simon's slow love song, Nobody Does It Better, for 1977's The Spy Who Loved Me, is a good Bond theme. It gives you a general idea of what the movie will be about, while also being a nice ballad that plays during the opening credits. There's nothing overly complex about this song, which is part of what makes it so appealing to many people. Carly Simon's vocals are very nice throughout, and creates a feel-good song which isn't massively common for a Bond theme. However, I do not rate this theme as highly as a lot of other people seem to. It's a very nice theme, but I wouldn't consider it to be one of the best. There's nothing wrong with the song by any means, but I just personally prefer a good number of themes to this one. You Only Live Twice by Nancy Sinatra is certainly one to be remembered. The strings in this song are what everyone remembers, as these are definitely memorable for the right reasons. The sound effects in some part also reference the movie setting in Japan, which is a nice touch for a Bond theme to have. The psychedelic pop genre is perfect for a 1967 Bond theme, as this music was very prevalent at this time, thanks in no large part to the flower power and hippie movements which were widespread back then. This also shows quite a large diversion from the tried and trusted formula used in the previous two themes, and it's all the better for it, as it feels new and refreshing while listening through the themes, and crucially, it's memorable. When it was announced that Billie Eilish was doing the Bond theme for No Time to Die, eyebrows were raised. I would however say that she did a commendable job with the Bond theme that she created. I am fully aware that Eilish's vocals are very divisive, with some people taking a rather strong disliking to her style. But I feel it accompanies her music very well, and this theme is one of the best examples of it, with the orchestral backing along with Eilish's vocals creating a very haunting theme. A very different feel to all other Bond themes, which, without giving too much away, encapsulates the movie very well. From Russia with Love, the very first Bond theme, is somewhat unsurprisingly a good one. This is the one that kicked it all off, and it does a great job at encapsulating the movie and the time it's from. Matt Monro, while somewhat forgotten as a Bond theme act, did an amazing job with his theme, and deserves a lot of credit for kicking off the idea of a Bond theme. This theme is a very nice and safe song in my opinion. It sounds relatively similar to a lot of crooner songs from the era, such as those by Frank Sinatra and Tony Bennett. Matt Monro shows amazing vocal control throughout the song, and makes this a very pleasant song to listen to. Adele doing a Bond theme was inevitable, and she delivered with Skyfall. It was a return to a more classic style of Bond theme, which hadn't really been seen in over 20 years by this point. The lyrics also sum up the feel of the movie well, with it feeling quite melancholic at times but coming back defiantly with power and determination. The vocal performance from Adele is one to be commended, as she really delivered power and precision with this song. The song really delivers at being an epic theme for what turned out to be one of the best Bond movies. The choir that's prevalent throughout the song creates an epic, but also haunting atmosphere, which encapsulates the movie very well. Honestly, I would be somewhat surprised if this is Adele's only Bond theme, as I feel she could very easily become something akin to Shirley Bassey for Bond themes in the next few years. Speaking of Shirley Bassey, here is her first Bond theme. Goldfinger is one of the most well-known Bond themes, and is instantly recognisable as Bond. Shirley Bassey gives a great vocal performance in this song, and the orchestra really helps to make this song shine. The power behind everything really gives a sense of importance, and while Matt Monro started the Bond theme tradition, this is where it took off to me. As I said earlier, this and Thunderball follow a rather similar formula, but I do feel this theme slightly edges it, largely due to its iconic status. This is not the best Shirley Bassey Bond theme in my opinion though, and you'll find out what the best one is soon. Duran Duran's 1985 theme for A View to a Kill is an amazing Bond theme. It perfectly encapsulates the time, with new wave being massive in the mid-80s. The chorus is one that is easily remembered as well, making for a great overall song. The blend of new wave instrumentation and an orchestra creates a surprisingly pleasing sound that you wouldn't expect to work. The upbeat chorus really helps make it feel like a lively Bond theme, and gives a good hook to the song, which is probably why it's the only Bond theme to reach #1 in the US charts. This all leads to A View to a Kill being one of Duran Duran's best songs, as well as it being one of the best Bond themes. The Living Daylight by a-ha is one that I was undecided on for a while. In the end I found it near impossible to separate the two new wave Bond themes, so here they are, next to each other. I feel a-ha did an exemplary job with the song, and it really felt like a Bond theme. While it's stylistically similar to A View to a Kill, it is a very different sound to its predecessor, going for a more dark sound than the upbeat Duran Duran song. There's less new wave features in this, and it leans more into the orchestral elements than its predecessor did. This in turn has a different blend of new wave and orchestra, but one that works equally as well. Little bit of trivia: a-ha were the first act from a non-English speaking country to do a Bond theme, being from Norway. Now this one seems to be an unpopular choice to be so high, but I genuinely think Sam Smith's Writings on the Wall from 2016's Spectre is an amazing Bond theme. I will say that I do not like Sam Smith's music most of the time, but I think this is their best song by a mile. It's got enough power behind it to sound like a Bond theme while also having delicate falsetto parts to give contrast. It also does well at encapsulating the feel of the movie, where Bond is showing a slightly more delicate side to himself with Madeleine Swann. Sam Smith doing a Bond theme wasn't really a surprise to anyone, considering how big their ballads were at the time. But the surprising part was how good the song actually is. There's genuinely nothing I can fault in this song. The vocals are exemplary, the song itself is heartfelt, but powerful, and it fits into the movie effortlessly. Sam Smith really deserves a lot of credit here. They did an amazing job. Others tend to put the Shirley Bassey themes the other way round, but I feel Diamonds Are Forever is a much better song than Goldfinger. Everyone knows the song, even if they don't like Bond movies. She is an icon when it comes to Bond themes, and truly is one of the best. I feel this is more experimental than themes prior to it, which really works in its favour. Shirley Bassey's vocals also sound much better in this song, which should be impossible after hearing Goldfinger, and she really shows why she holds the record for the artist with the most Bond themes. This has truly earned its spot among the greats of Bond themes. You Know My Name by Chris Cornell is an incredible Bond theme. 2006's Casino Royale saw Daniel Craig in his first outing as Bond, and saw a more dark, serious Bond take to the screens. The heavier instrumentation, along with Cornell's powerful and gritty vocals, really give an idea of what was to come. The orchestra being in the song really helps take this song from any old alt-rock song to being an amazing Bond theme. This is the superior alt-rock theme I mentioned during my bit on Another Way to Die a few minutes ago. I feel this song has a much better balance of rock and orchestra while being seamless. This song is also much more melodic despite being quite a lot heavier than Jack White's theme. I remember when I first watched Casino Royale, I ended up watching the title sequence a good 3 times because of how good this song is. While this theme on paper shouldn't stand out this much, it's genuinely amazing and does the movie justice. Now we are down to the final 2 Bond themes. Both are incredible, but only one can be crowned as the best. So, the second best Bond theme in my opinion is Live and Let Die. The prog rock Bond theme written by Paul and Linda McCartney, and performed by them alongside their band Wings, is an incredible Bond theme that captures the excitement of Bond perfectly. The one song has 3 movements, going from a piano ballad, to an orchestral rock song, and then to a 60s pop rock style. It is an expertly crafted Bond theme, and feels really ahead of its time for being from 1973. This is one of the most iconic songs ever written, regardless of it being a Bond theme or not. The instrumentation is amazing, the styles are perfect, and it creates a really unique and memorable song, which is what a Bond theme is all about. The blend of orchestra and rock is perfect in the applicable parts, and really makes you aware that it is a Bond theme. Now those of you who are more diligent may have worked out the Bond theme that I've declared as the best. But anyway, it is time to unveil the best Bond theme. Licence to Kill had the theme performed by Gladys Knight, who produced an incredible soul Bond theme that really matches the more adult feel of this movie, with it being the first to be rated PG-13 in the USA, and more surprisingly, the only Bond movie to have been given a 15 age rating in cinemas by the BBFC. This is effectively the perfect Bond theme, and anyone would be hard pressed to beat this one in the future. The subtleties that help it feel very 80s also help propel this one to the top, as it captures the time while also being an incredible Bond theme. Gladys Knight's vocals in this song are some of the best you'll hear. Her power seems effortless, and her precision with the runs she does throughout the song are near unmatched. The instrumentation is also incredible, as it has the orchestral sounds and feel throughout, but also has synths almost hidden throughout, which is where the 80s feel comes from. This beats out Live and Let Die for me, as the more calm and mature nature really feels perfect for this movie. Live and Let Die is amazing, but I'd have to argue that Licence to Kill is the perfect Bond theme. So there you have it. The ranking of all the Bond themes is complete, and 1989's Licence to Kill came out on top. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, pressing that like button along with subscribing would really help the channel. Also, if you disagree with any ratings I gave, feel free to comment. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon.